Yeah, episode 8, correct?
Really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Do you see what I have?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
My
Zion. You can
Zion.
go right up to it and show them. I should show them mine, too. Maybe when John and Drew come here, so if you just look at
Will they be able to see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can see it. And then I'll show them mine. This is my other hat.
You got two?
I got the big floppy one.
Oh, yeah.
And this one.
Yep.
So John should be here in a little while, and Drew will be here for the last segment.
So we're going to do things a little bit differently this week.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about me doing my Todd's tips. Are we going to do the tough love part?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
We're also going to do that. I forgot to
love.
mention that. Yeah, it's going to be a
All right.
Todd's tips, and then a little bit more of a, like you said, tough love, where it's kind of how you and I talk to each other a little bit more, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
not
how I talk to
harsh,
myself.
but
well, it's how I mean, we've talked about this before. It's how I have to talk to myself to make sure that I'm doing the right things, and it's how I talk to you too. So
almost little pep talks and stuff like that that don't always get seen.
Yeah, so a little bit of tough love, and then let's see what else.
Got our numbers.
Oh yeah,
We're
we're going to do
those in
that
the
first, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than at the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
Chris
Butera.
Yep. He had questions for us, and
Okay.
Johnny's here.
John is here. He's got his Zion National
Park.
Park.
Why don't you can show it to either one. Yeah, you can show it to that one or that one.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Very nice. On the couch potato. Now John's going to be.
Us one.
Yeah. John's going to be here for the first segment, obviously.
Yeah.
And
he's
going to share numbers with VOMP numbers.
He sure is. Yeah. And then our last one, we got VO Joes, the couch potatoes against the VO Pros. So
did you hear?
Term.
Did you hear what I was going to talk with people about as far as the Todd's tips? Just that idea of getting back to people quickly, which is what you try to teach your VOMP people to do too.
Yeah,
so
that's good and good, I think.
If you have anything to add
when we
during
do
the
that.
podcast,
sure.
You can do that.
Well, should we get right to it?
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Hey, this is Bill DeWees, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the 8th episode of the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast, where father and son talk about all things voiceover and maybe a little bit more. So John's here with us.
Oh, Father and Sons.
Father and Sons, yep. Mm-hmm.
Podcast.
So John's here for the numbers part of our first segment, which we talked about is going to be a little bit different. Todd's tips, Todd's tough love, and our numbers. So I don't know if you want to get to that right away or if you had something else to say before you got into that.
I didn't. Well, I will say this. I'm right on the cusp of 1,000 mark. I won't tell what it is for my numbers. And I'm less than $12 away from that. But I'm waiting for a client to get back with me. You don't want me to have this here.
If you don't mind, it kind of messes. For some reason, we found out, maybe audio people know this normally, but every time we've had our phones up here, we get this real quiet kind of thing. And I don't always know if everybody can hear it, but.
Well, if I get up to check that, I just want to see, because the client's supposed to get back with me about a budget, and that would put me over that amount for our. So anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about just a few minutes about my Todd's tips portion, and then we're going to give people just a moment to spin ahead, turn things off, leave the room,
close their kids' ears.
Yeah, because we're going to do some tough love as far as tips are concerned. But it'll be just some encouragement, basically. So, and this is something that John with VO Marketing Pro, I know that he and Joe talk a lot about this with the voiceover talent that are on our voice roster and the people that we do direct email marketing for. But here's something that I hear regularly. Thanks for getting back with me so quickly. Thanks for getting back with me so quickly. I received this statement or something similar to that twice this week already. And this isn't surprising from my point of view. It's just part of being customer centric, which is a fancy way of saying doing business right. It's getting back with people in a timely, professional manner, communicating with people. It's how I built my business and why to this point it continues to grow, and yours is growing, will continue to grow. VOMP continues to grow, even in kind of some tough economic times. But when I started thinking about that statement, I realized that I hear that all the time from my clients and potential clients. It happens when I'm returning their warm responses after I've contacted them with a direct email marketing email, when they ask me to quote a job, when they ask me about a timeline for availability or turnaround of a project, when they want to know about scheduling a live directed session. I hear that when they request a revision. Thanks for getting back with me so quickly. Thanks for letting me know what you're thinking. Thanks for getting that quote. Thanks for getting the revisions back. So that tells me a couple of things. When they're so thankful for that, it tells me two things. First, it's somewhat shocking when VO talent communicate in a timely manner. See what I'm saying? If they're saying, wow, thanks a lot for getting back with me, then that's saying something about us as VO talent in general. That is, we don't typically get back in a quick, timely manner. The second thing is, if you want to stand out from the crowd and secure more jobs and then keep them coming back for more, communicate in a timely manner. Just do that. Now, you had something you were going to mention, and I don't know if, John, you want to jump in there just for a moment or two if anything comes to mind with regard to VOMP or what you think about that. But go ahead, Hudson.
I happen to have the same thing happen to me. So I was working with a guy on Fiverr probably maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I got a job from him, and he came back with, he wanted to change like 2 sentences on what he did. So we set up an order, and he said, I need it lickety split. And so I got to it right away. I got done within 5 minutes because it wasn't that much. And he actually tipped me and said, left me a review on Fiverr and said, I needed this real quick. And Hudson got it to me within 10 minutes. It was within 5 minutes, but he got it within 10 minutes, and he was able to, send it off to the client and get it, okayed and everything like that. So he ended up also giving me a tip. So not that you always do it just so you can get a tip, but they appreciate that, especially when they're in a bind.
Yeah.
So,
well, you are in business, and so you want to serve your customer, and they appreciate that so often because, as I said in my first point, it's a little bit unusual. I don't know if you have anything that you've thought about with regard to that. It's kind of like duh as far as our businesses are concerned. That's just how we've thought about it. But if you have
not much, just piggybacking off it a little bit, that the people that we see, I've mentioned before in another podcast, just that success is happening after, 6 months or so for some people, but we're also seeing that people that do what you said, get back to people right away, are successful too. And so that's an important part of our direct email marketing efforts. That's, is only going to help you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just, you think about them on the other end. So if like you're waiting for an audition or something like from somebody, treat them. I know it's the golden rule, treat them the way you would want to be treated by them. But think about when you're waiting for something, you want them to get back to you real quick with hey, that was great. We're going to use you, something like that. And so saying, well, what would they want on the other end?
Yeah.
I know that's maybe somewhat obvious, but.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to stand out, and there's a lot of noise out there, and I'm not saying that in a mean way. There's just a lot of people vying for video production companies and ad agencies and voice rosters. They're trying to get their attention. And so just make sure that you get back with people. That's one way you can stand out, one important way. And that was just my point for that. So you want to let people perhaps...
Yeah, how about we can give them a moment here, and then... Is that the air conditioning?
Yeah.
Should I turn that down before we do that? Or do you think that'll not give too much of a hum?
Yeah, I think we're fine. All
right, I guess we'll find out in post-processing.
Yeah, we'll try to just get that out of our... All right, I don't think we will be able to, but...
That's what I'm saying.
Now that you called attention to it, everybody's going to think about that.
Well, I guess so. So that's not why we're asking you to look away.
So anyway, we've talked about having kind of a tough love segment to the Todd's Tips. And all that is just simply an opportunity for me to encourage you like I encourage you, my son, in voiceover, and like I have to talk to myself. And so let's just make sure that people, if they want, we can have a countdown. They can stop. If they don't want to hear some of this tougher love, if they just want to, quote, be encouraged, then they can turn off their video right now and join us in a couple of moments. Enough time?
Sure.
So when we talk about getting back quickly, this is just part of doing good business. It's not over and above. It's not exceptional. It shouldn't cause you to stand out, but it does. And the reason it does is because there's a lot of poor business people out there. And it's the reason that a lot of us voiceover talent, go out of business because we're not customer-centric. And that's one of the ways that you're customer-centric. So make sure that you get back to people so you stand out, even though you shouldn't stand out. It should just be standard business.
Is that also, and maybe you'll talk about this, it's also a chance of you losing a job. It's also a chance of you losing an opportunity to make money. Not only be good at getting back to them and them standing out, but also if you get back to them right away with an audition or something like that, they might just pick you right away because they're like, well, sounds good to me. Let's go with them.
Right. Yep. It puts an asterisk, I think, behind your name and maybe your demo or your voice. This business practice of getting back to people in a timely, quick manner, I think is especially important in VO. Remember, most of the time, the voiceover is the last link in a number of links of a chain in a project. Most clients want the voiceover yesterday. They want, like you talked about, they want the hey, this is a rush job. Oh, we need this, by the end of today. Could you get this in a couple of hours? Quick turnarounds separate those who succeed with those who fail or just muddle through on their voiceover career. I know that work-life balance is important. I know that setting parameters is important. You can't be on call 24/7, 365. You just can't. I understand that. I also know that, quote, training your clients to respect your schedule is a good plan as well. You have to train them that maybe you're not going to answer things maybe even as quickly on the weekends or maybe in the evenings. But you want to be in business, and especially in the VO business, time is of the essence. Now, if you're doing part-time voiceover, just do your best. A lot of times jobs now, you have a cell phone, and a lot of times jobs these days are flexible. There's not a boss right over your shoulder, and you can take time to get back to somebody here and there. So even if you're working part-time, do your best to get back in a timely manner. So whether that's warm responses, revisions, I try to drop what I'm doing unless it's a live session. I try to drop what I'm doing and get those revisions back. Why? Because sometimes the producers are sitting in the editing suite waiting to finish the project. And if I get that to them, again, an asterisk behind my name. Oh, Todd gets back right away. Or maybe he'll even tell me when he's going to get to the revision. Those are important things. Communicate, and do it as quickly and efficiently as possible.
And isn't that something that also, when talking about VOMP, and maybe John wants to elaborate on this a little bit more, or you, that's one of the things we look at when we are going out and finding voiceover talents.
For VO Marketing Pro? Yeah, for our vetting.
Do they do a good job of getting back to us, getting back to the client, all that stuff? So that's what we're looking for, too, as a little bit of insider baseball. So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to talk about, or...
I know we want to talk about it eventually because we have some new things that are happening for VO Marketing Pro. And pretty soon we're going to make those more public. So that would be something, a little tease there, because we have some different things happening with VO Marketing Pro, and John and the rest of us can talk more about that. So we've got numbers,
Let's
right?
do it. What,
Okay.
John, you want to go first with the VOMP numbers?
By the way, the tough love is over now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can come back.
And just keep talking because I'm going to check my
Okay.
phone here to see if my client got back.
All right.
So
Yours are sweaty.
you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, so some might say that it wasn't a successful week, if you will. It was a little bit of a down week. But, VOMP looks at success with warm responses, auditions, jobs, and we're still getting quite a few warm responses. And so we had 42 warm responses this week.
Wow.
4 auditions, and 2 jobs that didn't include you or
Oh, okay. So
Dad, which we include you part of VOMP, but we like, since your podcast covers your numbers, then we're not gonna necessarily include them in the stats.
Okay.
We've got one that it's kind of hanging out there that we know of, a job, and then we're waiting on those auditions. And just as a side note, I mean, we do follow up once a week as a check-in with people, and people are really good, at getting back to us on what their jobs are. But you never know. There's sometimes where jobs slip through, or busy schedules and all that kind of stuff. So not to say that when your numbers are low that we're covering for it at all, but just that's there's a lot of factors that go into it, and we just report what we get back. So we think it's a good week.
How many warm replies were there?
42.
Yeah.
And we had so one thing that I'll mention that happened last night, a guy that we really liked working with, he stepped away for just a while. There's whispers that he's coming back, but he got a warm response with a potential job, I believe, that dated back to April of 2021. That was the first time that the person
over a year ago.
Over a year.
So,
Yeah.
So
even though those
warm responses, like we've said so many times, are golden, because you just never know when they might, how they keep track of those, how the video production companies keep track of those. And some of them, when, you got some that get back and say, we're going to keep you in mind. But I think there's quite a few that keep you in mind without them just getting back to you. And so that's why we consider warm replies such a success, and to see 42 come in, that's a good week. So we're encouraged by those numbers, and as the long haul game goes on, we hope to keep on getting more and more auditions and jobs, and we do have those, but warm replies are golden.
So for this gentleman, that was an actual warm reply. What I mean was that a warm reply that then was replied again, or was that one that was sent out, never heard from, and then all of a sudden this was his warm reply? That's what I'm understanding.
That's what
right?
I'm understanding too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, it sat there for 13 months.
Yep.
And then he finally got back. And I find that all the time that happens. Now, let's be honest, with direct email marketing, a lot of them are deleted or forgotten. But there's a lot out there that are just sitting there, not collecting dust. They're sitting there in a folder, and somebody's actually waiting for a job, or they're saying, hey, I think I want to get back in contact with this person, like this gentleman. And it's a year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. I have so many times where people, after the 5th, 10th contact, more, they finally turn around and say, hey, I really like your voice, as if they've just heard from me for the first time. But I've contacted them many times. So there's direct email marketing is great because it's a little bit like opening a present. You send it out there and it's a surprise. Sometimes every once in a while you'll get something back that you're going like, I don't even remember them.
Yeah.
Let alone them remembering me. So
yeah, well, and just going back just a little bit in what you just said, we the production companies that we email are they're not all just huge companies. So some of these smaller companies might only have a few jobs a year, and they are keeping you in mind.
Yep.
And so that's why you following up with the warm replies and us, sending out on your behalf is important. And we have a wide range of video production companies. So to your point, I guess piggybacking a bit. So.
Yeah.
I'll do mine.
Okay.
So on Fiverr, I got $48 this week. Didn't have anything on Upwork because I'm all done with the PowerPoints. I had 2 jobs, one for $30, one for $175, so $205. 2 warm responses, no new clients, no auditions this week, and I did 5 hours of editing for you. So that is a grand total of $353.
$353.
So not bad.
Don't you have somebody that, not to go into details, but you got somebody that maybe is on the line, or at least you're shortlisted?
Yeah, I got shortlisted for an audition, so we'll hear back more next week. So why don't you do yours quick?
Okay. So I had 3 warm replies, 2 auditions, and I will have a new client next week. We've been in negotiations for a documentary. It's a British company about tycoons, and there's going to be 3 sessions, and they're like going to be long. It's going to be something new for me, like 3 to 4 hour sessions.
Wow!
And they're $1,500 each session. So I'll tell you more about that next week. So my platforms, $2,296.60. Direct email marketing clients, $5,691.50. I didn't hear back from my client, so I will be over the $8,000 mark for this week. But right now, my total $7,988.10. $7,988.10 for my week.
Nice. All right. So those are our numbers for this week, and next we will have our interview with Chris Butera.
Well, we're so glad that you're joining us for the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast, and we'll get back to the podcast in just a minute. I just wanted to take a moment, a brief break from the podcast to talk about some business friends of ours and tell you what they're up to, tell you what they have to offer. The first one is Bill DeWees. Bill is a friend of our podcast, a sponsor. He's also our podcast voice. Bill is a 16-year veteran of voiceover. He is a career coach, and he's probably the closest thing to an expert in voiceover, all things voiceover, as I've ever met. And so if you want to find out more about his teaching and training programs called the Voiceover Blueprint, we have a link below, and just check that out. It's good for the newbies, if you're just starting out, people that are a little bit more established and, kind of getting going, and those people that, have been doing this a long time. There's something there for everybody. It's called the Voiceover Blueprint. Second of all, Bill's daughter, Mallory, she's doing really wonderfully on the platform Fiverr. And she's done a 4-part series, actually is doing that right now. And it's also recorded, so you can join at any time and be a part of that. And it's on just how to be successful on the platform of Fiverr. So that link will be there as well. I know Mallory is set to make well over $100,000 this year, I think in the $120,000 mark, doing it part-time as a stay-at-home mom and a voiceover talent. And so you might want to check out that as well, as Mallory has a good handle on Fiverr. Then the last member of the DeWees family is Alex DeWees, and Hudson and I have both benefited from Alex's audio engineering techniques and expertise. And so there's a link there also for Alex DeWees. If you need some help setting up your studio, figuring out equipment, getting your audio processed and such. So take advantage of those links. I know they'll be helpful for you. Now let's get back to more of the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast.
Welcome back to the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. Before we get to the Chris Butera interview, I just want to take a second to talk again about our coffee mugs. Cheers.
Cheers.
You can get them over at vomerch.com. That is run by our friend Mike Hathcote. All sorts of good apparel, coffee mugs, mouse pads, you name it. He's got it.
And Mike actually started the company because he was looking for some VO merch and couldn't find any.
Yeah.
And so he just started his own company.
Fill the void.
Yeah. But they've got a lot of nice stuff. And so maybe even if you're not a voiceover talent.
Yeah.
I know we have a lot of voiceover talent that
you don't
watch,
have to be.
You don't have to be.
You can just pretend you are, or maybe that'll get you into it. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, there's a little commercial for VO merch. So this week we had new and upcoming voiceover talent, Chris Butera, who had some questions for us, and we didn't get through as many as we hoped, but we hope to have Chris on again maybe and get through a couple more of those because we think those questions
they were good questions.
Are good questions,
no
especially coming from the camp of people who are somewhat new, like me. There are questions I've had, stuff like that. So we will get to that right now.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Can you hear us all right and see us and everything?
Yes, everything's good. Everything's good.
So you are a Rangers fan.
New York Rangers.
Oh, I am. Absolutely.
we watch hockey more and more now. And we watched the 7th game. That was exciting.
Oh, that was crazy.
I bet your heart was pounding, huh?
You have no idea. I thought they were going to blow it.
Well, they came back. Well, I mean, weren't they down 3-1?
No, that might have been the was that the Maple Leafs or
okay.
Yeah,
or the Lightning?
So. Yeah, it was about it was like 2-3, and then they started to lag a little bit because I don't know. I guess they're playing like there were 2 minutes left in the game, and they had like half a period left. You just needed to slow down, and then like Zibanejad just like came in and he just kind of like he got their momentum back, and then after that it was pretty smooth.
Yeah. Well, and now who do they play?
Another it's going to be Carolina.
Okay. I suppose, Hudson, we don't want to take too much time talking about the New York Rangers as much as Chris might like to. We probably should talk about voiceover too.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't mind talking about it either, but probably to get to things that are a little bit more important right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it is a voiceover podcast, so might as well.
Yeah, it is mostly.
Yeah. Although it's fun to get to know people and what they like and what their life is like and stuff. Where do you live, Chris?
I live in Brooklyn. New York.
Nice.
Born and raised, one of the few originals left, I'd say.
Now, those of us who haven't been to the East Coast, we can have stereotypical ideas. I just talked to a woman from Long Island, and she had no noticeable Eastern accent at all, and you don't seem to either.
No, it comes out if I'm annoyed or if I've been drinking. Otherwise, it tends to stay a little undetectable. It's just something that I just grew up around hearing. Just people from the neighborhood just constantly, just having these very thick accents, and I don't know. I just didn't want one, so I just learned how to drop it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you've done a good job because that'll serve you well because you could probably go into it, because you're around it all the time. You can probably do it whenever you want to. I mean, you could get a real nice thick East, New York accent or whatever, Brooklyn accent, but you sound like you just are neutral, no accent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can do a tough guy pretty good, and that serves me for that. But for the most part, I try to stay very neutral. So that I think that helps a lot with my delivery as well.
Yeah. And how is it going? Go ahead. Sorry.
It just seems like that's a lot of like voiceover now, unless they're looking for like that type of accent, they're looking for something that's fairly neutral. And so that, like Dad said, that'll probably serve you well with getting jobs that you don't have this real thick. I'm not even going to try because I wouldn't do well. So anyway, I just was going to agree with you on that, I guess.
How long have you been in voiceover, Chris?
Professionally, this is my first year.
Okay.
I had started in 2017 where I had wanted to do it for a long time. I didn't know where to start. So, and I also didn't know if I was going to like it. So I had just found like the voiceover groups on Reddit and all these little tiny projects on like Casting Call Club and things like that. So I just kind of tried it out and just tested the waters there just to see if I liked it, to see if I could actually do this thing. And turned out I could, and I did. And then the whole trick is just, well, how do I figure this out? Like, how do I get around to actually doing it? How do I do this so that I can get paid like real money, as opposed to, a $5 job, a $10 job here from a Reddit project, mostly just experimenting on somebody else's project. And that's great just for starting, but it doesn't exactly tell you whether or not your delivery is good or not, because it's a lot of people who just have it's a lot of fan projects for the most part, or it's a college project or something like that. So they're not a casting director, so they don't necessarily know what would be, an industry standard job, which, that's not on them. That's just, this is the project what the project is.
Mm-hmm. What are you finding? So you had Reddit. Are you on any other platforms, or are you doing some sort of marketing to find more work? Is that a struggle for you? What are you finding as you grow in your business?
Well, the marketing is probably the trickiest part, really. I do pretty much all direct marketing. I'm on Bidalgo as well. That's the only pay to play that I stick with right now, because it's pretty affordable, and it's also for voice actors by voice actors, and you have to properly be vetted. So he wants to make sure that you went through, I think the guy's name is Army. He wants to make sure that you went through the proper channels of, where did you get your training? Where did you get your coaching? Do you have a pro demo? Do you have a pro studio? And have you been nominated for anything? Have you done any bigger jobs or anything like that? So he gets a good idea of where your skill set is, and he wants to make sure that he can vet you to the clients, and it's not just anybody can join, like with no expectations, whether you've been doing this for 5 years or 5 minutes. I actually really like how he has it structured in Bidalgo, and you can also end up clients off there eventually. If they like you, then they could become your regular clients off of the platform.
Well, some people would say, you've started in a difficult time. There's COVID, then there's inflation, and so there's a difficult time to get going. Have you found it to be a struggle getting work, or are you on a little bit of an upward trajectory, even if it's just a small, growth pattern, or are you finding it more up and down and up and down? Do you get consistent work, or what are you finding, Chris?
It's very tough. Year one is, I guess this podcast is basically what to expect in year one when you decide to go pro. With when COVID had started, just to backtrack a little bit, the first couple of years was really just heavy research and just trying to figure it out, and just deciding, well, where am I going to get my coaching from? And just, also it's important to vet your coaches as well. It's very easy to just get caught up in something where you'll find somebody who's just says, oh, I promise to make sure that you get a 6-figure earning in 6 months with voiceover. It's that easy.
Yep.
My course, there's a ton of that out there. So you got to really coaches, what I ended up doing, I ended up just finding other voice actors who had been doing this for a long time professionally, and just reaching out to them and just having coffee with them, or just getting on the phone with them and just saying, hey, what did you do? Because this is working for you. And that's how, and the first thing that they said was, take acting classes. This is voice acting. Just you're going to need to learn acting chops. So they recommended me over to Stella Adler, and I took classes over there for a while. I had also, and I also found my way into Terry Daniels' voiceover program, and I can't thank them enough. They're really meticulous, and they're really, really helpful. They have one person, Trish Pisani, who's their marketing expert, and she really hammers home the direct marketing, and she really teaches you how to fish. To answer your question in a roundabout way, the first year is very, very hard. A lot of it is just is just prospecting and generating leads, and really just taking that plunge and just actually reaching out to them. I actually am a contract away from, and I just have to send over the information later today, but I've basically booked my first actual job.
Nice.
As of a couple of days ago.
Good job.
Oh, that's
awesome.
must be fun. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Even if it's a small job, it's wonderful to get that under your belt. You know that you've got what it takes to work professionally. That's fun, isn't it?
Yes, it's I can't say too much, but it's constant repeat work with the newer audiobook platform.
Nice.
Yeah, so it took a while, but I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor, and auditions come in pretty often for the last couple of months. So it's definitely on the up and up. But for the longest time, I mean, I want to say up until maybe like 2-3 months ago, nothing was happening. And that's something that if you ask somebody who's been doing it for a long time, don't expect to make a much of money in your first year or your first couple of years, really. It's really more about getting your feet underneath you and just getting the foundation and getting all of your materials, your website, your logo and everything, and all of your training. That's really what your first year is, just getting that foundation, just building all these leads and actually just reaching out to all these companies individually and, just getting yourself out there. And then slowly they will come to you. The thing that but it is an uphill battle, and it's always going to be, and that's totally fine. But over time, it gets a little bit easier because you, as something that you say in some of your Todd's tips, you got to put a lot of fishing poles out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's if you do it right, then you push and you push and you push this boulder up the hill, and your legs are burning and your lungs are burning, and you say, I can't do it anymore, and I probably better just let the boulder roll back over me and just be done with it and go to corporate America. But if you keep pushing, you get to a point where you kind of, it's not every day, but a lot of times you get it so that you roll that boulder to at least a resting place, or you roll it over. Like this last 6 months ago, I called off my assistant. I said, with helping Hudson and helping VO Marketing Pro, our other business, I can't do direct email marketing for a while. I'm getting too much work. And so you get the snowball effect. And for Hudson, who's just starting out, when you guys are about a year old, you're kind of similar. You're about a year old in your voiceover career. And so that seems like outlandish. And you would say, I'll take that anytime. I want to get run over with work. But even there, you have to learn how to triage that work, and you have to learn how to manage clients, and all of that is part of pushing that boulder up the hill. You get more and more jobs, you get more and more chops and skills, and then when you're ready to have that snowball, you're ready to have that snowball, and you won't get beat on the other side of things. Because if you get too much work right away, as unimaginable as it might think that you'd get overwhelmed, you can get overwhelmed. I was even overwhelmed being 12 years in, like last summer. So it's just, you have to kind of put in your time. And that, I know that's overstated, but it's true. And there's a lot of, like it is still, 90% of small businesses go out of business in the first 5 years. Why? Because they don't have the attitude that you have. That is, I'm probably not going to make a lot of money, if any, the first year. I just got to plant seeds. I got to fish. And eventually you get better at fishing and you get more contacts out there and you start reeling in some, like you did just hopefully yesterday or with this contract. So good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and thank you. And there's a ton of just warm responses that I think I have about 60 folks that are prospects. So my trouble is nurturing. I'm not great at, like, once somebody says, oh, great demo, we'll put you on our roster, or, oh yeah, can you audition for this? And it kind of goes cold for me there. And I don't know exactly I don't really know the best way of of really touching base with them every couple of months or anything, because I mean, I don't really know what to say. And I don't want to just nag them and just say, oh, hi, do you have work for me? That makes no sense. And that's going to bother them. It's going to annoy them. And then it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, no, if I had work for you, I would have work for you. Like, it's trying to figure out, how do I generate value for somebody when I give them something?
Well,
reach out to them at all.
Let me just help you a little bit with that second point, in that most of the time, even though they might say they like your voice, they might say they'll keep you in mind, a lot of times they forget you. They put you in a folder along with all the others. And I'm not saying maybe all of your contacts, all 60 are just like, nope, we remember Chris, but they don't remember me. So I just get back in front of them. And sometimes they say after my 5th or 6th reach out, they say, oh, good to hear from you. Like I'm a new person. And I've talked to them 6 different times. And so just remembering that, they'll tell you, I mean, don't go overboard. Don't go overboard. Some people say, every 6 weeks. I have a tendency to do like every 3 months. If you do every 2 to 3 months, they'll tell you, if they say, hey, Chris, we've got you in mind. And I've had people tell me that before. I don't like to bug people, but a lot of them thank me. Oh, hey, thanks for staying in contact. It's nice to hear from you again. And if you couch it in, hey, I've got you don't just say the same thing. You might say, hey, I've got a new demo, or I worked on this project. Can you check this out? Or maybe just some what's called water cooler type templates. That is, it's summer, and I hope you're enjoying the warmer weather and the longer days. I'm looking forward to barbecues and thanks a lot. Maybe you don't even say, keep me in mind. Maybe you just get in front of them with a real soft sell type thing. So there are ways to communicate in an honest way, not a scammy type way, without bugging them. So I just encourage you to think that through a little bit, with maybe not all of them, even though they said, hey, we'll keep you in mind. A lot of them, at least it's been my experience over almost 13 years, that a lot of them don't remember you. And they prove that when they say, hey, thanks for reaching out. We'll put you on our list. I'm already on your list. You've told me that the last 3 times. You know what I mean? Does that make sense or not?
It does. It does. Okay. So what habits should new voice actors avoid falling into?
Just in all transparency, we asked Chris to provide some of these questions, and the questions you asked were great. They're questions that you've definitely thought about some of these things, and I appreciate you asking some of these questions. And I jotted some notes down, so I'm going to refer to my notes, and maybe we can get through some of these and either schedule another time or talk off of the podcast. But you asked, what habits should new voice actors avoid falling into? I just put a few, and these they're not real technical. They're not so much the acting side of things, or even specific marketing, or what kind of microphone. The first thing and the thing that I talk to people over and over and over again is, never forget that you are a small business owner. You have to think of yourself not first as an actor. At the very least, it has to be small business owner / actor, because otherwise people have a tendency to focus so much on the acting, and they don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to be customer centric. They don't know how to market, all of the things that make you a small business owner. Do you understand what I'm saying by that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the marketing is the most important element of it. And there's so many ways to do it too. Like, it's not always just emailing somebody. Sometimes if you happen to live in like a metropolitan area, like I do, where you just, where we have the luxury of public transportation just everywhere.
Yeah.
Almost no need for a car. I can just walk over. Like, I actually did this last week. I just walked over. I have a couple of like the local councilmen and the local politicians. I just walked into their office and just gave them a business card, and they were pretty elated about it. They were like, we're not doing we might not be needing you for any campaigns, but there's definitely a bunch of PSAs that we'll probably have down the road for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just yesterday, I I decided to do a change of scenery because when I was just, doing my lead generation, and I just left my house. I went into a coffee shop and I just, didn't think anything of it. Okay, here I go. Let me just, get a cup of Java and then go through what I'm doing. Somebody else over there, she was working and I overhear her conversation and she's talking about broadcasting. So I waited a little bit until conversation. I waited until I was, until I got up to leave. And I just said, hi, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I'm a voice actor. I just overheard that you were speaking about broadcasting. What exactly do you do? And she's like a PR person who's like they're like a middleman company for, they connect like businesses to ad agencies and marketing agencies. So I just gave her my card. We hit it off. So I have no idea if anything will come from that, but it's a pretty good chance.
Yeah. And you're fishing. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing. And that's the whole idea, is thinking of yourself more as a business person rather than just an actor. Of course, you have to work on your skills. And of course, getting coaching and stuff like that, but also just thinking of yourself, maybe getting coaching on making sure you're a good business person if you need that, if that's not a strength. So that would be one thing. Another thing is that I wrote down was, and we've kind of already touched on this, so we don't necessarily need to talk about it unless you or Hudson want to speak to it. But in business, there's going to be ups and downs. And so what's important is you get a solid business plan. Not that it can't change. You need to watch and observe the industry and just yourself, your strengths and weaknesses. But when you go up and down, which businesses can do that, not to flail and just say, I'm doing everything wrong, but to be urgent, but not emotional, I think, about thinking about your ups and downs. Take a step back. If you have a good business plan, continue to work it, especially in these times where financial stuff is a little bit up in the air. Just continue to do that. And a lot of times you outlast the competition just by staying the course. It doesn't mean that you don't evaluate. It doesn't mean that you don't try new things, but you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater when you go up and down. And that's what Hudson and I talk about a lot. So if you have comments on that, go ahead. Otherwise, I can go to a third and fourth point that I was going to make.
Oh, yeah. I actually talk with my fiance about this all the time, who's probably sick of me speaking about this. I never talk about voiceover ever again. She'd probably be happy as a client. but when, and I guess this kind of gets back to a point that you were making earlier that, yeah, I probably chose to get into this professionally at the worst possible time because there was COVID and there wasn't really anything going on. Mm-hmm. A lot of people jumped into it because they felt, oh, I can do this from home. I can get into this. I've always wanted to do this. Or maybe they were curious and they dove right in. And there's a lot more competition than probably ever before. There's always, but there, like you said, most businesses do not last the first couple of years. And a lot of people, I don't think are or were, if they've chosen to fall off, I don't think they were ready for everything comes with it.
They probably were going to make it anyway, were they? They probably might not be able to make it anyway, yeah.
Well, maybe, but maybe they didn't. I think if they just didn't mentally prepare for it, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to get easily discouraged because you just expected to just start making a killing off of this, where that's not necessarily the case with any business at all. Like whether or not I was doing voiceover or if I decided to, I don't know, open up a coffee shop down the street. Right. The first couple of years, it's hard. You're going to be spending way more money than you make. And you have to figure things out. And if you're not already prepared to do that from the get-go, then it's going to be that much harder because, a couple of months in, you're going to just say, well, this isn't working. I'm done. Or maybe you'll stick it out a little bit longer and you'll try it for a little while. And then, if it's not panning out, you just, oh, okay, that's it. It didn't work for me. It's not meant to be or whatever it is. But the trick is once you stick it out, I think like it's just persistence of time, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing that I have to remember and all this stuff Dad talks to me about, because I go through some of the same, worries and stuff like that. Like, oh, I was doing really well on Fiverr, then all of a sudden it goes down. It's like, oh, what do I do now? Do I change something on all these things can come into your head, at least they can with me. But just remembering to keep doing what I'm doing, because it's a good business plan. It's fairly the same as my dad's. So he's done it. Not that we have the same voice or anything like that, but if I stay in it and I outlast the competition, I will probably succeed to some degree. So just continuing to, see the path ahead of me and stay on that and not getting off. So that's always a good reminder for me as well.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and I get freaked out about this too. It's like, I just have to remember in the back of my mind, this is going to take time. It's like, it's not supposed to happen right away. If it's like, I'm saying it doesn't happen for people. Some people get really lucky right out of the gate and they never have to worry about it. But we're not all Don LaFontaine. We all don't have Don LaFontaine voices.
Right.
Some people, a lot of people who come from sales tend to have an easier time with this, I've noticed. And that's just because they're already used to that form of a grind. But for most of us, we don't. Most of us, we're not salespeople. Like I have a journalism background, and I recently, around the same time as I decided to get into this, I made a conscious decision that for my survival job, for my corporate survival job, I was going to go into marketing so that I could learn more about how to do this, so I could use that in both my professional, in both of my professional worlds, so that I could just learn a couple of tricks here and there. Now I don't do email marketing as like my regular like marketing job. That's I do more of the content side, which means I probably should be blogging a lot more. But it's just I just decided to make the conscious decision that if I'm going to do this, I have to learn how to do that. So I might as well be getting paid for one so that I can work on the other at the same time.
Yeah, smart. And another thing is, and I know that I'm older, and so social media is maybe not as attractive, and it's maybe not my thing as much. I know that you have to use social media, but what I see, another thing that I think new people should avoid is use social media as a servant, but don't let it master you, because it seems like some people are just out on social media and I'm going, that's great if it's getting you somewhere, but if it's just out there just talking and if it's some sort of supplying some sort of a need, you're getting information, you're sharing information, that's great. But just be careful that it doesn't become your master, and things that you ought to be doing, like marketing, it's not sucking. It can be a time sucker. And so I think I see people like that regularly out on social media, and that might be something, maybe I should turn off my camera and you two talk about that, because you're closer to the same age and you might have more opinions that no, social media is where you connect and it's the new thing and stuff like that. But I do see people, it seems like they kind of can get off track a little bit and not use social media for something that's building their business, if they're thinking about their business. What do you think about that, guys?
Well, I actually try to not use it that much. I don't like it. I see a lot of it as a time suck, and
there you go.
It's very easy to get distracted on those platforms. Mm-hmm. If you want to use it for your business, there's definitely there's a right and wrong way to do it. Like my fiance loves TikTok. I cannot see TikTok. You will never ever see me on a TikTok or making one.
Same here.
Anything like that. But there's a place for LinkedIn.
Yeah, right.
That's where I like to go. And that's maybe one way where I should be doing my maybe that's one way where I should start getting in front of people, is just like if I see something that a prospect who's added me has put out there, then I'll leave some sort of a valuable comment on that. Like if it's a video production house and their post is, hey, look at this awesome collaboration we did with Adidas or something like that, and it's the Adidas commercial, whatever they did, rather than just give a like, just tell them, my God, I love the way that you shot this. The colors are very vibrant in here, great lighting, great cinematography, and whatever it is, just trying to provide value for them is really the key. And then they'll remember, oh, hey, that guy cares about what we do. So that's one avenue where you can use it. But I try not to do any other forms of social media. Facebook is nice to just, every once in a while, if there's somebody else has their business on there, yeah, it's all right to comment on their stuff too. But it's really just trying to figure out how to use it. Like you said, just to try to not become a servant and try to master it. Like Instagram, I guess I don't really use it too much, but I guess a way to go about that would be, let's just say, I like this. I like this coffee company called the Rootless. It's the Rootless Coffee Company, right? I think their coffee's pretty good, which it is, and I just ordered their coffee. My Instagram is obviously directly correlated to my business. Cup of coffee, like just picture the cup of coffee, picture of the bag of coffee. Hey, enjoying my awesome Rootless cup of coffee, tagging them in there, and just, and then there we go. That's maybe their social media person sees that and says, oh, we need a voice actor for this. And then that connection could be made that way. But I'm not going to post a picture of my food every time I cook.
A little extra, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's good if you're doing product placement, basically. I think that's one avenue where you could use that. But you have to just try to not get sucked into it and just use it all day.
I think also for me, I don't use a lot of social media either. I use Facebook and LinkedIn, and I think those are fine to have when you're getting started, because I think you need ways to connect. But I think you should be, like you've said, Dad, I think you should be focused on first building your business, not building you have to build a brand at some point. But I think getting to a point where you're making money consistently and stuff like that. And then maybe as you get more well-known and stuff like that, maybe some people will want to, see what you're doing in your life. And so it's like, okay, now I use Instagram to show, hey, I'm going to the studio or stuff like that. But I think people they think that, oh, I'm a voice actor, all this glitz and glamour and stuff like that. And so I'm going to show them, oh, I'm in the studio. Here's me doing this. Here's this. Instead of, all right, social media is out the door right now. Not that you're not using it, but I'm working here right now to do my job. So I'm going to send out emails, the kind of gritty, get down to business and just kind of, get the work done that you need to, so that you can build, a successful business rather than building a maybe, successful social media platform or whatever. Maybe that comes with it later, but I think a lot of people can get into the trap of, I've got to have a really great, social media following and stuff like that. It's like, well, you first need to have a business before you have that. So,
yeah, and if that's part of your business,
exactly,
if that's part of your business plan and it helps get you where you need to go, then, but I think like Chris said, I think there are people that go overboard on it. I guess that was my point is, and I don't have, don't spend this much amount of time on it, spend this much, but you just have to think through it and make sure it's not being a time suck. Like you said, Chris, I think that's really critical. The last thing about what habits that young actors shouldn't fall into is, I just wrote down, try enough, but don't try too much. I think what happens is whether it's pay to play or Upwork, Fiverr, free things, or getting an agent or social media, I think what people have a tendency to do is they say, well, I'm not getting any work, so I just got to try everything. I hear coaches even talk about get on every platform and fill out everything. And there's no way you can manage that. But what you do is you try to have some specific things that you're going to target and work that and see how that works for you. Sometimes you'll say, well, that's not working, so I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, for instance, when I first started out, there wasn't a Fiverr. All there was direct email marketing, voices.com basically, and ACX doing audiobooks. So I did a lot of audiobooks. Well, when I found out that I could make more money quicker than doing audiobooks, then I started to switch a little bit more to some different things. But I didn't have 20 things that I was working on at the same time, because you'll probably do 20 things poorly then, instead of doing 3 or 4 things well and trying them and, seeing how I fit into that and seeing if that's being successful over a period of time. But I see that a lot where people either just try one thing, and so they've got, a bunch of fishing poles in one pond, or they try one pole in 100 ponds. And it's like, I think there's a balance here. Maybe a few ponds of water or a lake here, and then as many fishing poles as you can get in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? All those analogies, I threw out a lot of analogies, but I hope that was understandable, what I was saying about not too much, but not too little either. Trying enough, but not too much. Does that make sense, Chris?
Oh, definitely. And that's something that we all, or at least Hudson and myself, have been going through too, where where at the beginning you see all these shiny places and you're like, well, I'm not getting any work because I'm new. So let me everywhere, like you said. But then after a point, and that's different for every person. Everybody's career is drastically different from the next. But you get to a point where you think about it and you're like, do I want to do this? Like, where have I gotten the best responses? Where have I found the most people would be interested? Where have you kind of survey the land a little bit, and then you realize, okay, I don't need this platform, so I'm going to get rid of that. Or, oh, I'm spreading myself too thin if I'm just auditioning for this all the time. Or, oh, I'm not getting any work. I'm auditioning like crazy, but everybody answers my direct marketing emails. So why don't I save, X amount of dollars and just put my time into just direct marketing? Which that's something that I did. I had put my eggs in quite a few baskets, and I realized, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. Let me save time. Let me save money.
Mm-hmm.
Let me only focus on these few areas. And I think that's been helping a lot. Also just, again, just reaching out to other voice actors and just saying, hey, I need help with this. Or like, hey, do you have 15 minutes to talk? Or, do you have a second? Or just listening to all the various voiceover podcasts out there, you can just obtain so much free information out there to really help what you can do. And even, this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, but I haven't gotten around to it just because of COVID and everything. But as we're opening up, I'll probably start doing this around, now that we're getting into the summertime, but just meetup groups, or just finding, various places where people who have other businesses are going. There's plenty, if you go on Meetup, there's plenty of groups out there where it's just business entrepreneurs, and they're all going to be, and they'll be in your local area. You'll find some place where you could just go and congregate and meet other people who have whatever businesses. Maybe you go to a bar or whatever, where they have their talks or anything. Or I'm fortunate enough to live in the New York City area. So there's the Voice New York City group where they do these regular events, or at least they did before COVID, and now they're slowly starting to come back. So I'm going to a free event that they're putting on in a couple of weeks, and I'm just to go meet more of these people and just get all of this advice. And also it helps to just meet as many people as you can. There's not enough that can be said about guerrilla marketing too.
Networking.
Yeah.
You know what? It was really nice to have Chris on, just because it's nice to see it's not nice to see other people struggling, but it's nice to see new talent being willing to come on, show their face, their name, and just talk about some of the questions they have. Because I think that's so vital to know that there are people out there that need help, and not everybody's, because you could you can get into the mindset to think that, oh, wow, Todd and Bill and all these other people who make six figures, it's like, I can do that right away. And it's like, no, you can't. I mean, maybe there's an outlier here and there that makes six figures after their first or second year, but not very often. And so to see people who have those same questions, same struggles, it's nice to see that, because it makes you feel like you're not alone.
There's a lot of people out there that are starting their voiceover career. And so a person like Chris, who's willing to come on and say, these are the struggles that I'm having, or this is what I've done to try to jumpstart things like you're having to go through, like I had to go through, like everybody has to go through. That can be kind of a mutual encouraging time. And to be honest with you, we've had 3 or 4 interviews now with Bill and Mike and Randy, and most of them are, kind of in the midsection or farther. They're as far as voiceover is concerned, they're
middle of the pack.
Yeah, middle of the pack, or making six figures or multiple six figures, and have done it for many years. And so it was nice to talk to Chris and just hear that a little bit from, we have this father-son podcast, me who's been doing it, seasoned voiceover talent, and you who just a little over a year, and that's about where Chris is too. So that was great.
And Chris, we're rooting for you on getting that first contract that you talked about. So
exactly.
Keep doing
Let us know.
Yeah, keep
Let
doing
us
the
know,
good
Chris.
work, and hopefully we'll have you on here sometime soon. Next, we have a little bit different, not our numbers. We had that first. We've got our VO Joes, not VO Joes, Average Joes versus VO Pros.
There you
go. That's what it is. Our couch potatoes will be taking on us, and I've gone through and I've picked out some little paragraphs that we're going to do, and then with a couple different read styles. So join us for that. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. I'm Hudson. That's my dad, Todd. We've got our couch potatoes and our average Joes.
Big John and Dookie Meister.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. So today we've got something a little bit different, and this is how we're going to probably do it for the foreseeable future. Normally we have our numbers during this segment, but we decided to put those with Todd's tips. Just because we wanted to have a segment that was a little bit more laid back, a little bit more fun, and maybe just a place that people could come watch and get to know us maybe a little bit better, other than our straight-laced other segments. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do the Average Joes again, the couch potatoes against the VO Pros. And what I've done is I have 4 different nursery rhymes. And what we'll do is I will put them in my hat. Unfortunately, people will have to see my hairline. And then you'll pick one, and then there are 4 different read styles, tones, such like that. So you'll have to read your nursery rhyme in that voice. Read style, stuff like that. So what I'll do first is I will get up and I will hand out to you guys, and then we'll hand out the nursery rhymes, and then I'll hand you the...
We're all getting the same nursery rhyme?
No.
Tell us the different... Can you tell us the different styles? Give us an example. Well, the nursery rhyme, I think people
We'll do it when we can read them out loud, what they got once we do it. How about that?
That's whatever.
This is my game. Don't steal it from me. All right. So... All right, pick one. There's only 4, so don't tell us what it is.
And these are the nursery rhymes?
Yep, don't tell us what they are. Oh, nice. In the way.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, well, it might have the bigger...
Are we sure these are nursery rhymes?
Well, they're just little, they're kid things. They're safe for your family, encouraging, uplifting, all those sort of things.
Did you type in online nursery rhymes and this is what these came up with?
Actually, yes, I did do that.
Okay, I was just curious.
But now...
Now this is the read style.
This is the read style.
All right.
Why is it tough?
I guess mine's stuck up here. Oh, trouble. All right. Let's start with Dad. What is your nursery rhyme? And then your read style.
My is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Okay.
And I am a car salesman Spot.
Oh.
Your favorite.
So you're going to... Anyway, we won't tease how you'll say it because we didn't practice these. So, Drew, go ahead.
What mine is?
Yes.
I don't know what the song's even called, but it's just row, row, row your boat.
That's row your boat.
Or row your boat.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess I'm supposed to do it with a British accent.
Right.
So
He's bad, probably.
I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I've been thinking about it. It's gonna end up like all of Mom's accents.
Try to think about like Piers Morgan or something
Mom
like
was
that.
up here
Yeah,
to do
that's what
her
I'm trying to think
accents.
of. But
Or Cumberbatch. You know, doesn't he? Isn't he British?
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very. I wish, like
Jolly
Drew said,
old England.
Don't help him out.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not sure that helped.
Here's the thing. What
All he said was jolly. He didn't change his...
what people have a tendency to do is, I can't remember what it's called, but like if you want to be real conversational and your read starts out with not a real conversational style, what you can do sometimes is kind of do a quick jump in or lead in, like, hey, what I was thinking was, and then start. It kind of gets you into more of a conversational. Like I'm trying to think about how I could do that with my car salesman, or like if you're doing what are a couple of the other ones?
I don't know. We were gonna finish going
movie
through.
trailer, like the movie trailer.
We haven't gotten
In a World.
We haven't gotten through all of them yet.
Okay,
though.
go ahead.
Go ahead, John. John, what's yours now that Dad spoiled it
Wheels
for
on
us?
the bus. The wheels on the bus.
Oh, okay.
And movie trailer.
Movie trailer. Okay. And then
Well, I don't know why I spoiled it. I was
Because
just
we were
trying to-
going
What
around.
you just said is exactly what I was
Yes,
thinking.
we were
of
good.
starting off.
Okay,
with.
good.
we
yeah.
were going around,
Yeah.
and everybody was telling us what theirs were, and then you started helping Drew.
This
with
is a
his.
goof around time, but it's off the tracks. Just so you know, we've gone off the tracks of the goof around
Yes.
time.
Yes,
According
according to Hudson.
to
Right.
Hudson.
This is my podcast, so.
Father, son.
Oh, okay. So this was your idea. Anyway, I got Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and I have to do it in a Southern accent.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
layup.
That's an easy one.
Oh, a layup.
That's a simple one.
All right,
put
watch
pressure on you,
me
yeah.
get worked. So I don't know how we want to do this. Who wants to go first? But I can go first if you want, since supposedly mine's the easiest.
Go ahead.
All right, and it can be goofy. It can be. You can try your best to sound like, not like crazy goofy where you're just like pretending to be. Anyway. You know what I'm
So
talking
are we
about.
trying to? Are we just doing the VO of this? But you're not going to try to sing it or anything like that, right?
We're not going to do the.
Okay.
No, but it's more of just you're just going to read it like the person you're supposed to be. So for me, it's Southern accent. So I'll go ahead and give her a whirl. Let's see here. I got to get into my Southern.
What's
my
that one
Southern
guy's
accent.
name that Mr. Foot? Remember him from
Shelby.
those?
Shelby Foote.
Shelby Foot. You should try to think about him, maybe.
Yeah, I'll try.
Dad, you're not supposed to be helping.
Yeah, you're ruining it for me.
It's my
I'm ahead.
overprotective nature.
All right. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on his farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here a moo, there a moo. Everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
Good.
Yeah,
I think that was good.
Yeah, I think
My
so.
Southern roots, my Southern Indiana roots from Mom.
Yeah.
Who's next? Who wants to go next?
I can.
All right. Go ahead, John. Let's hear it. All right. Get into character, all right?
In a world where the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round, the wheels on the bus go round and round all day long.
Yeah.
That was actually a good
Nice.
one because it's kind of like a monster truck.
Yeah.
And you got the wheels on the bus. It's just a monster truck bus.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of a car commercial I've done lately.
Well, you did the upper deck. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
just did. So I just did.
I can try mine.
Go ahead,
Okay.
please do.
So, let's save the best for last because I'm fairly certain mine's going to be the best.
Today through Monday. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Wow. And what movie is that you were trying to?
I don't know.
Just all of them?
I was hoping I
He
would have.
didn't have movie trailer.
I was hoping I would have gotten John's.
Dad had Raw. His was.
I had Sunday,
Yeah.
kind of that type of a deal. I mean, that's not a used car so much, but
I
that's
should
more
have.
like
What
a
I should
motor
have
car.
done is, and I'll hopefully get better at this. But what I should have done is like a horror movie trailer where it's
A specific genre.
Jason Spielberg or whatever his. I don't know if that's even.
It's not Jason.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven
Spielberg.
Now, he may
Jason's
have-
his brother.
he might have
He may have a son
Jason-
named
son
Jason.
named
Jason's the
Jason,
guy
my
who's got the.
grandson.
Anyway.
Shout out to Jason.
Yeah.
Jason Spielberg.
There's probably one.
I'm
out
sure
there
there is. And he'll be tuning in all the time to watch
that'll be
because
good. Who knows?
it's a call out for him.
John Campbell.
Shout out. Go ahead.
I think I'm last.
All right, come on, Drew.
All right, I'll try the best here. I don't know if British accent would be my forte. Let's see here. Trying to think of. I've been spending the whole time trying to think about a British accent.
Well, it's hard when other people are talking too, isn't
Yeah.
it? You get
Well, kind of, but
I think you got the hardest one.
British,
I think
so-
you did.
I'll go British.
all right, here we go. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. That's like really ancient.
That's like
Mary Poppins.
I think
That's
it was
Mary-
good.
that's
Well, but
Bert.
there's-
That was Bert.
from Mary
And-
Poppins.
But isn't there like there's many different like
Yeah.
English? There's like
Yeah.
is it Cockney and
I'm not sure
different,
anybody
like, suburbs.
in the UK would appreciate
No.
you comparing that to any of their.
Sorry to anybody. That's
Yeah.
We're not saying that this is
Good
is
thing we
right
don't have an
or
international
correct,
reach
but
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll clean this
Well,
up before.
we might.
Yeah, but that was definitely Bert from Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Chimney
That's right.
sweep.
Yeah.
And I think historically
Everybody
people have
stepping
said that's he does a really poor job in that.
Yeah. He doesn't have a very good.
Honestly, is that what they
that's
say?
what they've said. That's
Dick
what
Van
they say.
Dyke, it is?
I guess.
His dancing just
I thought
makes you
were-
forget about
I
his
thought you were
English
teasing
accent,
about
his
that.
British
No, that's
accent.
what I've heard.
Anybody want to try somebody else's?
Oh.
Sure, yeah, I don't mind
what
trying
do you-
something.
I'll try a southern.
Why don't we put
Southern
the style back in and we'll repick,
What
and
if
then you
pick the
keep
same
your
one, though?
you keep your nursery rhyme or whatever these are. I'm not sure these are nursery rhymes.
You
but-
actually, with yours, it started out sounding almost like Australian, and then went to
went to Bert.
Bert.
Bert and Mary Poppins.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah.
Huh.
We love to laugh.
How are we doing on time? Oh, we've got plenty of time.
So much time.
People are glued
Yeah.
to their TVs. Please, please, please. Southern.
Oh, and of course, Drew knew what this would look like.
He crumpled it up so he knew the feel of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got British accent. This is gonna be rough.
Trying to think how our neighbor John speaks. Howdy.
Oh yeah.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Now you sound like Ernest T. Bass.
Oh no. Let's see.
Use a little bit. Go a little bit lower. Use your. Go a little lower.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
There you go.
How I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are.
That sounds like
that's pretty
somebody.
good.
That sounds like somebody from one of the either Andy Griffith show or something like that we've.
Well, I've watched a lot of them.
Yeah, that's really good.
Demond plays them over and
He is
over
a
again.
fanatic.
Yep.
Yes. All right, Drew. Let's hear.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
So I still have row your boat.
Oh, okay. Good.
And
Familiar.
I've got movie trailer VO.
Okay. Now, let's just before you start, try not to do the same as the Sunday, right? because that's kind of a monster truck.
I thought that was just having fun. Not
Oh,
being
so
told to do.
Yeah, I felt like this
is
was unscripted, and
this
yet
is
it
the
feels
bossy
like
game. This
as
is
we're
called the
going,
bossy
we're
game.
being told what to do.
I guess I'm the expert all of a sudden, and I shouldn't be talking. I shouldn't be doing this. Just
Voiceover.
go
You're the
ahead.
expert in
My
voiceover.
bad.
All right, movie trailer VO.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. In theaters, March 3rd.
Very good. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
good touch.
In
That was
theaters,
nice,
March
too.
3rd.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was really good.
Mhm.
Have you done a couple of those?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've done a fair amount of
In
movie
theaters, March
trailers.
3rd.
You have to be real close.
And kind of gravelly.
Coming to a theater
I've
near
never
you.
done one, so I
Coming to a theater near you.
You're you.
Friday the 13th.
Ooh. Johnny?
I've got the car salesman.
Ooh.
Mm.
Was that different? You just switched with okay.
Well, I didn't switch, but I picked a different one. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Come on down to the bus garage on Monday to see the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long Monday.
Nice.
Yeah, there's he
He's
did that
adding to
little
it,
that little
ad-lib.
jump start into
Wow,
there. That
that's
got you
nice.
right into the mood.
That was real nice.
That was very nice.
All right, I got the British accent, so. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on his farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O, with a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
I think that was pretty good.
That wasn't bad.
Say
Oh, okay.
15% on car insurance.
That's,
Geico.
is he British or is he?
I
That's what
don't
you
know.
sounded
I think
like.
he's a little bit Australian.
I think it's amazing where you find out, like Robert Downey Jr. Is he British?
No.
No, he's
But
American, I think.
he can.
Jude Law.
Those guys can not
they have-
do it, and then
yeah.
other times do it.
Yeah, he's got.
It's like, how do you know what their real voice is
yeah.
when they go back and forth and they're that
Yeah,
good?
yeah, seamless.
The guy who plays
Is
Spider-Man.
Jason Spielberg? Is he?
Jason Spielberg is
he
British. Is he British?
He's multilingual and he's got multi accents.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
So that's going to be what we try and do and have a little bit more fun. We're going to do hopefully a whole bunch of other things. I won't, let the cat out of the bag too early. But we talked about having something like this, but where we have like a wheel that we spin and there has different things and we have to do them. Also, we were thinking about doing. I guess I'll talk about it since we have some time. Name that voiceover artist, whether it's somebody from VOMP,
yeah.
or maybe an actual famous actor like a Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, stuff like that, where they do something, we'll play it, and then we have to guess around. Also, maybe having some sort of family quizzes or just talking about some subject that we think is interesting. Apart from VO, and I don't know, there was a couple other things I had, but I'm blanking right now. So
We'll keep thinking of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people will they're going to want us to do this every day.
Yeah.
I feel it. I think they're going to want a podcast every day. And
Maybe even
you're just going to have to hold off. We don't,
maybe even reacting to some of our early stuff that we were doing.
We were watching one of my Todd's tips and doing like that science thing with Joel Hodgson.
Oh.
What was that called?
Mystery Science
Theater.
3000.
We were sitting there mocking me, talking about voiceover and stuff. It's pretty mockable, some of the stuff. So
Yeah, so hopefully we have some things that people like and they'll want to join us for that. If they don't, that's
they can
fine.
comment
Maybe
on this too if they want, as far as the who did the best.
Yeah,
Or,
if
Jonathan's.
If you're watching and you
car
want to leave a
salesman.
comment, please let us know who won or who did the best, or maybe something you'd like to see. If not this, if you don't like this, let us know, and maybe it will only be a 1 week thing. But we'd like to hear from you. So
I think one of the maybe you all talked about it earlier on, but the couch potatoes now have two mics.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing
that's pretty
that out.
big.
yeah, 2 mics.
Because there were several times where John had the mic and I felt like I needed to say something and I just was unable to.
Yeah.
And we needed you to say it too.
Right.
And then
Now we don't need to share.
They needed me to say it.
Yes.
They needed you to say it.
Most importantly.
And that takes the spontaneity out of it when you have to twist that.
Yeah.
Because for one thing, I mean, you're just
I'm so quick, and
there's so
my
much good
jokes are
stuff
all
coming.
about timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very difficult when you sit here and you're prepared,
Yeah,
and then
you got to
that
swing the mic.
passes
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
It's
not
it just
right.
doesn't work.
And you proved that today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We needed you. We needed you to be on here, or else we just would have had trouble. So, well, thanks for coming.
Good to have you
on.
guys here.
Yeah, it's nice. So hopefully we can continue to do that with your guys' schedules and stuff. And we will be back here next week, same time, same place. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.
Bye.